Hi, I'm Dave. This is the Cyderbaby podcast. I'm speaking to Steve Catt of the last of the Misfit Heroes. Hello.
Yeah, I'm very well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. You have a new album recently released about a month ago. Is that right?
We do, yeah. It's called Hope for the Hopeless. It's a self-released album, so it's now available on all the streaming platforms, and and you can also buy it from our Bandcamp account, which we're selling for £1
did.
Yeah, no, you did.
For
yeah, you were on the first.
Yeah. I think I'll give you a little bit more actually, but there you go.
You did,
I thought this is too cheap. It must be wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a bit about the album. How did it come into being?
Yeah, well, the album it's about 2 years the band has been going, and in that time we've put together about 10 songs which we've sort of been working on. 4 of the songs were on an EP which we released April last year, 2020 now. And so basically the idea was we had another 6 songs, so we managed during lockdown to get back in the studio and just finish the 10 songs off. And the idea was then to sort of tour and do as much playing as we could live, and obviously with everything that's been going on, that's sort of knocked it on the head. So the idea, so we brought the album, brought that back sooner and released that we released it March this year. So yeah, it's a collection of songs that we've been working on, and we thought it was good just to put them all together, and then away we go, really. So we're quite happy with how it's all sort of come out, and we're looking forward to actually getting out and playing it at some point, and being able to do the album. So yeah.
How would you describe your music? Because I find it's not quite punk and it's not quite rock, and in fact, it's a bit of a misfit. So
exactly. I was about to say, I think really the way I write and the way that we work as a band, we don't really sort of sit down and say, right, this is what we're going to do. It's more of, I think the way I look at music in general is, I wouldn't say I'm a massive I am a metal fan, I'm a rock fan, I'm a punk fan, but I don't go too deep into it. So I tend to change what I'm listening to on a weekly, daily basis, and so I tend to pick out the good bits that I like of those different styles, and it's really trying to capture, I suppose, a feeling of the song, rather than sort of saying we're going to do a metal song, we're going to do it in this style. It's more about just getting a feel of how the song is sort of going. Each song tends to be different as well, how they come together. We've got one song on there, When My Empire Falls, and that song basically came together literally within 10 minutes. I managed to write the whole song. So it was just one of those things that just happened naturally. But then we've got other songs which they take a bit longer to work on, and they sort of grow by themselves as well. So once the 3 of us get together and start knocking around on them, they sort of go in different directions and they take different shapes. And I think being a 3-piece as well, it's quite nice that we can all put our own input in, and it brings out its own character in the song. And on the bass, he's a song like Pieces. I just had the basic riff, and he's then taken it to another level, and he's written the lyrics for that song as well. So it's good. Yeah, we don't sort of try and pigeonhole ourselves in any sort of style, really. I think we can be classed as a rock band. I mean, that's the way we look ourselves, as a rock band. But then we do veer off on different directions. I think at the moment all our stuff is quite fast paced, quite short, sharp sort of songs. So that's our main. That's what we. Again, it's not a planned thing, but that's what we tend to write. There's probably bits and pieces that we could add to it to extend them a bit. But we tend to just, if something sounds good and it works, we tend to keep it in, and rather write more songs than extend them, sort of thing. So I suppose that's again where the sort of punk element comes from, is that they are short and sharp.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You've got a couple of videos out to highlight some of these songs. Why don't you just go through them?
Yeah, sure.
Explain how they came into.
Yeah. Well, the first video we put out was for a Wake Up Call, which was actually the first song we recorded back in 2019 when we first started. So that song was the first song I wrote as the last Misfit Heroes. And at the same time, we then got involved with a one of our friends now. He's a video producer, film director sort of thing.
Right.
So we sort of, as the band started, he came on board as well. So he's been really getting involved in all the visual side of things, and that's been really good as well. It's another way of expressing the song. And with Wake Up Call, the idea behind that was there's different parts of the song where we're wearing different outfits. That we're wearing mime outfits in one part and steampunk in another. And the song itself, Wake Up Call, was probably the first song I wrote as the last Misfit Heroes. And at the time, I was sort of struggling through a few issues with myself. And the reason for putting the band together and the reason for doing all this creative stuff is to try and keep that side of my creative mind ticking over while other things were sort of, weren't going in the way they should have been. So that video as well sort of tries to capture that. I mean, the song itself is about the breakdown side of when things start going wrong, and sort of telling yourself it's okay to, go through these sort of things. And I suppose it's how you come out the other side and how you sort of deal with them. And that whole video, I think that was good in a way because it sort of showed us as a band and showed people that where we were going, sort of thing. And it gave us a bit of direction as well, and it really pushed us on. So that was quite an important video for us to start with. And then I think the one video, like we're proud of all the videos, but the one that really stands out at the moment is When My Empire Falls. We went up to London during lockdown in August, and there's hardly anyone about. But that song, When My Empire Falls, was originally about a personal issue with myself. My whole world falling apart. When you think you're doing the right things and you're struggling, but then as the pandemic sort of kicked in, it sort of then took on a wider sort of meaning, if you like, or a wider sort of view on what was going on with everyone. Everyone suddenly going from what was sort of normal, then going into a position where you're sort of locked in, you can't do anything. It sort of took on that bigger meaning, I suppose. And the video as well, we're sort of wearing suits and we're walking around London, smashing things up. And it's just a sort of comment on where everything seems to be going, really. So that was a good video to do. We enjoyed doing that one as well. So so the videos have been quite important to us, really, especially with lockdown, not being able to gig and not being able to get out and play.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's given the songs a different sort of bit more meaning, a bit more life to them as well. So it's been good.
Are you going to expand on your visual predominance, or?
I think so. Yeah, as soon as we can get out again, a lot of our videos so far have been quite animated. And our producer there, Gareth, we've been lucky because he's been able to do a lot of stuff from home, and as we haven't been able to get together, we've sort of used that animated style quite a lot. But I think as we can start getting out and we start playing again, there'll be a lot more sort of videos with us in it, live settings, that sort of thing. And I think at the moment it's quite nice. We've released these 10 songs as the album, and we've got a couple more videos to come out. One for Creating a Monster, which is the first track on the album, and then we've got another one for Demons as well. So I think once those two videos are done, it makes a nice sort of that stage of where we are, and then we'll move on and work on the second album. Then that's the plan. That's
you're still writing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I suppose the good thing for all this is I've probably got, I'd say, another 2 hours worth of material, which I've been writing in the last year. So we're not going to be short of songs. So that's the thing.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned on our pre-video chat, you're doing a documentary. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. It's called Creating a Misfit Hero. And as I sort of mentioned, when I put this band together back in 2019, I was struggling with my mental health, and I let things get out of hand. And I suppose it's really hard talking about it now, because that person who I was 2 years ago, it doesn't feel like the person sitting here talking to you.
Yeah.
I mean, the person sitting here, I wouldn't be able to do this 2 years ago. It was a horrible place to be in. And so the way I sort of had to look at everything, I mean, I've played in bands before, and I've sort of had music in my life since school, but I wanted to, I suppose, change the way I looked at everything, and I sort of asked myself, why am I in a band? What is it I want to get out of the band? And really the main thing is just being creative all the time. So I just chucked myself into doing the band, writing songs, doing videos, and from that as well, we've filmed quite a lot of old footage of us starting from the beginning over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And the idea of the documentary is just that, to document where we started from, which was a pretty low place, and where we sort of ended up with the album. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. We've got quite a few interviews with DJs who've helped us out, and people who've really sort of been part of how we've got to this stage now. So it's going to be a short film.
Yeah,
just highlighting that, and then highlighting the album as well. And I mean, it's going to be interesting because I mean, we're putting it together at the moment, and it's not going to be oh, look at us, look what we can do sort of thing. It's more of like, I want it to sort of look more like, this actually is a thing and it happened and it's a nightmare. If this is how we got through it and this is how we're getting through it, and that's what I want it to be more about, rather than, oh, look at us, we're a rock band and we're doing this and that. Because, it's quite, I mean, it's a difficult subject to talk about, really. And
absolutely,
and I think it's interesting because once we start talking about things like this, you then start connecting with other people, and then you realise that everyone, to an extent, has got things going on which are difficult to deal with. And just knowing, I think the main thing for me when I had my issues, the main thing for me was there was three people who I didn't really know, but they all said to me, what you're going through, it's genuine. You are genuinely going through this. But just having people understanding and knowing that people are struggling, I think really does help. It really helps. So that's what we're trying to get across in this documentary. It's more of how we've come together as misfits, if you like. Because I mean, you look at us now, like we're sort of, I'm mid-40s myself, and you're thinking, putting a rock band together, what's going on? But it's like, we're not, the reason we're doing it isn't to become big rock stars or anything like that. It is just that whole thing of being creative, using your mind, and focusing in the right direction, and just seeing how far you can get with it. I mean, I was sort of talking to in another interview, and someone asked me what success looked like, and it was like, for us, success is just doing the band in the first place, sort of thing. So it's just looking at all the little bits that build up to something, that at the end is quite positive. So that's the main thing. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I've been through my own issues myself and had my tough times as well, and it is good to talk to other people, and it is good to see other people just, I suppose, embrace the difficult subject and just say, here it is, you're not alone. There is always an upside to everything at the end of the day. You can get through it, you live through it. So I tip my hat to you, and I think that's a good thing to do with this documentary. I think a lot of people will find a little bit of comfort in that. So
I mean, that's the thing. That's hopefully where if it helps one person just realize that that what they're going through is, it's not normal, but there is other people going through similar experiences, and if that helps one person, then it's all sort of worth doing, isn't it? But I suppose for us as a band, actually, it really helps the three of us. I mean, Chris, the drummer, is my cousin, and the bass player, I've known him since we were 5. So but over the last couple of years doing this band, when we've sort of opened up with each other, it sort of takes it to another level, and just knowing that you've got people you can talk to, it makes a huge difference. Just having that support, just knowing that, if you're having a bad day, you can just sort of say, oh, I'm struggling with something, and then you've got people who understand, and they're there for you. I think when you do sort of reach out to people and open up, I think people are a lot more, that people will listen to you. I think it, but there is a massive sort of stigma to it as well, and that's the bit I struggled. That's the bit I struggled with. I really struggled with it to start with, is just admitting to it's probably more admitting to myself I had a problem. That took a lot of time for me to get my head around that bit before I could start talking to other people. So it's Yeah, it's a difficult subject to talk about, but I think it's, especially with music as well, I think music definitely helps.
Yes.
Yeah, you can sort of lose yourself in music. And like we were saying about styles and things like that, I tend to, when I listen to music now, I can go from so many different styles and sort of genres of music and just pick out the good bits. And, you know, I think earlier on I was listening to NWA, you know, and it's, it's quite angry stuff, but there was
Yeah.
bits to it, and I was really, you know, I think music, if you can connect to it with it in any style or any sort of band or anything like that, that's the magical bit. It's that connection, and that's what we're trying to do with our songwriting. If we can connect with it, then hopefully other people connect with it, and rather than writing stuff for the sake of writing it or trying to fit into, you know, genres and different, different styles or anything like that. I mean, yeah, that's what we try and do with our music. So
cool. Okay, back to the album. Pick your favorite track.
That's a difficult one. I think. Well, that's a very good question.
I should have asked you before, shouldn't I?
I'll have a top three. I'll go through them all. But no, I think for me, Pieces is probably. I'm more proud of Pieces because I think the way that song came about, it took us a long time to finish it. It's quite a short song, but basically, I just came into the studio. I had the opening guitar riff, and that's all I had of that song. And then Andrew's just come in, to put the bass line on, and he's written the lyrics for it. And then Chris as well, he just took the drums. I mean, there was no sort of discussion, oh, where do we want this song to go? It just naturally evolved. And I know the ending of the song took us months. We were messing around with different ideas. We didn't know where to take it. And then all of a sudden it just all connected and it became a proper song. And definitely live as well, when we've done that song before, that really is, you know, it's quite a sort of, it's got quite a good sort of jumpy up, possibly even like a ska type beat to it in places. It's got that sort of that thing. So it sort of sums up us as a band, really. It's I think that's probably my favourite. But yeah, there is quite a few others which I also enjoy. So
okay, I think we'll finish it there. Thank you, Steve, for your time. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah, thank you.